Hello and welcome back to Throttle Up. Now, all of us have our 3 a.m. thoughts. Some of us go through an existential crisis, some of us watch random YouTube videos, while I wonder, how does Maruti Suzuki get it right every single time? How do they have a product market fit formula with every car and even every variant that they launch? I'm just amazed and I'll never not stop wondering how they get it right every single time. Now, before I wander into my other 3 a.m. thoughts, and even before I start discussing the new 2022 Brezza VXI variant, I want to thank the amazing staff and the very courteous managers at Maruti Suzuki Arena, Tricity Autos, Patiala Road, for providing me the access to their cars so that I can review them. Now, if you want to check out any of the cars which come under Maruti Suzuki Arena, I would definitely recommend you to this showroom because the cars are in impeccable condition and the staff is very supportive. They will guide you through all the information and the offers which Maruti is offering. I have included their website and their contact details and even the address in the description below, so do check them out. Now let's get straight into the review of the new Brezza 2022 VXI variant. Now the first thing that we notice is that they have dropped the Vitara branding from their new Brezza and it's just Maruti Suzuki Brezza now. It comes in 4 variants: LXI, VXI, ZXI and ZXI Plus. This VXI is the second in its lineup, and practically I would say it's the most value for money variant, but stay till the very end to understand why am I saying that. Be it any variant, the new Brezza only comes in one engine option, which is a mild hybrid 1.5 liter petrol. If I talk about transmissions, you get both the options, manual and automatic. VXI is the lowest variant if you want to opt for an automatic, because the LXI one does not get an option for the automatic. Now coming to the engine bay of the car, it is a relatively heavier bonnet than what you would actually expect, and a rather neat looking engine also. As I mentioned, this is a 1.5 liter petrol which produces a maximum power of 103 PS and a maximum torque of 137 Newton meters. It might feel underpowered to the enthusiasts, but for an average consumer, it will suffice. There's a good amount of insulation available on that bonnet itself to prevent cabin noise, and the bonnet is actually really heavy. I was not expecting the bonnet of the Brezza to be actually that heavy, so it's really nice. I think they have taken in the consumer feedback about the safety ratings and all of that, because people are getting more aware nowadays about the NCAP ratings and everything. Now coming to the front fascia of the car, you get these chrome brackets which have this boxy type design finished in plastic, which gives it a nose kind of look. So I like that. It's a different take, and I like how they have done the gap between the bonnet and this black metallic finish. It's actually grayish. So I like how they have done the elements on this grille. It's not too big, it's not too small, so I really appreciate that as well. Now coming to the air dam, it's adequately sized. You can see there's a lot of ventilation, and that there's a skid plate also which is finished in plastic and a grayish color in that regard. Now this is all plastic for the bumper, and you do not get a body colored option for that aspect. Now coming to the headlamps, this is a projector setup which is a halogen. You do not get any LED DRL. The turn indicator is also a halogen. That's a projector and that's a high beam headlamp. Now this is how it looks like when it's lit up. Projector, again halogen. High beam is also halogen. There's this chrome lining which I really like, and it adds to that overall look of that headlamp, making it look like an eye. There's no fog lamp on offer in this particular variant of the Brezza. As for the overall look at the front, it is more straight line-ish as compared to the previous generation of the Brezza, because it was more curvy. Even the headlamps had a roundish nature. Now it's all straight lines. Even the grille, although it has its curves, but again everything is very straight. Even the slanting lines are straight in that regard. Now coming to the side profile, the first thing that I have to let you know is that these are not the wheels which the VXI variant particularly gets. This is just a part of the accessory kit which Maruti Suzuki has pre-installed in the demo car, so as to let you know how a VXI variant can also look like with the alloys on. Now don't you worry, I'll show you the exact designs and the tire profile which you get in the VXI variant particularly. Now as for the individual elements, you get body color door handles and a proper black plastic cladding, which I really appreciate. It adds to that SUV nature of the car. The C pillar is sloping. There's a shark fin antenna which is finished in body color. No roof rails and no sunroof either. There's no chrome usage on the door sill. The handles are nice to hold and they are protruding outwards. There's absolutely no chrome usage whatsoever. Body colored ORVMs with turn indicators which are halogen, so that's not LED. Now coming to the wheels. These wheels are the alloys which you can get for a premium of 40,000 and you can get it installed in your VXI as well. But these are the tires which you get on the VXI variant. These are steel wheels, not an alloy, but the steel cover is looking really nice. The tire profile that you get is 215/60R16. So that is appreciable because all the variants get a 16 incher. The top variants obviously get an alloy, but then again, the size still remains the same. The overall length of the car is 3995 millimeters with a wheelbase of 2500 millimeters and a ground clearance of 200 mm, which is really nice. Now the rear profile is what should get your heart racing because it's completely different. It's very fresh. It is absolutely different from what we had in the previous generation. And after looking at this design, I somehow feel that this is always how a Brezza should have looked like. So apparently they have read my mind, but I'm genuinely glad how they have done this design overall for the rear of the new Brezza. As for the different design bits, you get this Brezza badging in a quite different font. Smart hybrid badging right there because it is a mild hybrid version obviously. It does not get the rear washer and wiper for this variant, but it does get a rear defogger. It also gets the stop lamp which is finished in this integrated spoiler of sorts, so that's a nice touch. As for the tail lamp, this is how the tail lamp looks like. It's an LED setup for the main lamp, but you get a halogen bulb for indicators and reverse lights. So there's that. This is how it looks like when it's lit up. I really like how it's the same as compared to the other ZXI and ZXI Plus variants. The weird part is that that corner of that lamp does not light up. So I don't know why is that, but overall a very good looking tail lamp. Now coming to the other bits at the bottom, it gets a black plastic bumper and a black skid plate as well. So on the top variants you get a silver finish skid plate, but in this you get a proper black bumper which has two reflectors and this straight line finish in between those two reflectors, but it's all plastic. You also get the rear parking sensors in this variant as well. The rear exhaust is at the bottom and there is no fake exhaust treatment going on at all. Now let's open the boot of the car before heading into the cabin. Now it does not get any electric tailgate obviously, but it is very easy to open and it's a bit on the lighter side. Now I love how the loading lip is very low. You can easily put your stuff. The additional wheel is obviously a steel wheel since all the wheels are steel. It is however of the same size, so I really appreciate that. This cover just takes a second to put back again. Yeah, now you also do not get any 60/40 split in this variant, but it can be put down so as to create more space for your boot. This boot is a 328 liters and you do also get spaces on the corners to keep more stuff. There's also a hook to secure your stuff. The 328 liter boot space is adequate and not class leading per se, but still does the job really well. And I like how they have almost made it level to the loading lip so as to not cause you any inconvenience. So I really like that. Although it does reduce the overall depth of the boot, so that's a compromise that you have to make in order to get more convenience. Now as for the back doors, it's a very plasticky appeal and there's a lot of hard plastic usage on those door pads. Now on the top there's a hard plastic, there's this grey line which is running in sort of a boomerang shape just above the grab handle. Now this is hard plastic, this is hard plastic, this is fabric. This all part of it is black fabric which is soft in nature. This is plastic again for the grab handle. The bottle holder is small, you can just keep one bottle and that is the speaker. Even the handles are finished in black, so you do not get any chrome finish as such on the door handles. Now that is the seat. The recline angle is bit on the upright side, but we'll come to it in just a second. The upholstery is an out and out black fabric, so there is no dual tone or any leather usage in the upholstery. The ingress and egress is also easy because there's no hassle that you have to do in order to get in or get out of the car. Now closing the doors are a bit on the lighter side, but the legroom is decent. There's also good enough space below the front seat so I can keep my foot there. As for other features, you get pockets on both the sides and this hook which has the maximum capacity of 3 to 4 kgs to hook your stuff, and a magazine holder on the co-driver side as well. Now as for the thigh support is just enough. It is not too much, but it's not too bad as well. It's just adequate for a person who is 5 feet 9 inches just like me. I would have appreciated much broader seats. The headrests are adjustable and the recline angle is sort of upright, which I already mentioned a minute ago. There is no center armrest in this variant of the car. The grab handles are soft pull in nature and they are not fixed, so I like that. Coat hangers are also there. This is how the dashboard looks like from the back seat. You get a touchscreen, you get a D-cut steering as well, but an out and out black finish to that dashboard and the upholstery. So there's no dual tone effect or any light color, so that does reduce the airiness of this cabin. Speaking of air, it gets AC vents as well for the rear. And are there any 12-volt socket or USB sockets? No, there is an illusion. So there are plastic humps on that plastic, but there is no socket which is on offer, which is really bad. Why would you trick someone into believing that there are sockets but there are none? So I don't know why the plastic is shaped like that below the AC vents. But that was for the rear seat. A decent space to be in, nothing too extraordinary about it. As for the comfort, would have appreciated a bit more recline angle and a better thigh support, but nothing that I can really complain about. It's just about me wanting more. Now it does not get any request sensors for this variant, and the door pad treatment on the front is also very similar to that on the back door. Obviously, this is fabric. The other are all plastics. The bottle holder is adequately shaped so you can keep some stuff and a 1 liter bottle. Now this grab handle is something that I'm not particularly a fan of because it does not look very classy. The buttons are just like in any other Maruti. You get the auto foldability and electrical adjustment for the ORVM, a black finish for the door handle, and this is the grey finish. The auto up down is only available for the driver side window. As for the driver side seat, it only gets manual adjustment. There's no electrical adjustment, but you can adjust it for height and obviously the backrest. So this is how the backrest can fall if you do not sit and adjust it. This is for the height adjust. Decent to use levers, nothing fancy about it. You get 3 pedals since this is a manual and a dedicated space for the dead pedal, so that's appreciable. That there's a dead pedal, as you can see, proper clear space dedicated. That is the bonnet opener and the fuel lid opener. These are the buttons for your traction control, auto start stop enabler, and the headlight leveler. Very similar plastic which is used in pretty much every Maruti car. You do not get the engine start stop button, and these are how the AC vents are finished. And as I mentioned, there's a keyhole because there's no engine start stop function in this variant of the Brezza. Now let's get into the cabin of the car. This is the instrument cluster and the steering wheel which greets you. Now let's turn on the ignition. Turning on the ignition, you notice that this is a proper digital instrument cluster with an MID in between. The left is the tachometer and the right is your speedometer, which also has the smart hybrid badging inside it as well. The warning lights are scattered all over the instrument cluster and there is no one space dedicated to those, so you can see some of those outside the tachometer, some inside the speedometer. The left stick is to control or look at the trips, to reset them and all of that. The right one is to look at the range, the average and the driving information. These sticks are an eyesore and I absolutely don't like this treatment. Why not just give 2 buttons on the steering wheel on the right side, just like in the MID, and these 2 sticks just look out of place honestly. As for the steering wheel gets a plastic finish and there's no leather wrap as such. This is all plastic. There's bit of the usage of silver garnishes on the spokes of that wheel, so I really like that. The left in controls are for your infotainment and these buttons are to control the call, to hang up or to pick it up. This is finished in black and this is kind of a softer plastic and it also gets the D-cut treatment. It's only adjustable for tilt because there's no telescopic function available on this VXI variant of the Brezza. The left stock is for your wipers and the right stock is for your headlights. Now this is how the overall dashboard looks like. Nice to look at. It's not visually unpleasant, but it's all black and there's a lot of usage of hard plastics. It also gets a 7-inch infotainment touchscreen, which is the older version which Maruti has been using for what seems like an eternity now. It does not get the Smart Play Pro, which is available in the other variants of the Brezza, namely ZXI and ZXI Plus. These are the touch buttons to control power, volume and to mute it. The right side is to control the menu, go back to the settings and a back function overall. The touch feels laggy. It's not very responsive, but it does the job pretty well. All the information that you need is on the home screen itself for the time, the vehicle information. If you drag it from the top, you can also look at the paired devices and just add new devices or delete it. Now if you touch the settings icon, you get date and time settings, audio settings, tuner settings and connectivity settings, so you can obviously pair your phone and select the balance, faders, treble, bass, and all of that. It also gets the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto support as well, but there's no connected car tech which you get in the SmartPlay Pro features. Now, this is matte black finish for the floating touchscreen, and it does not look very classy because it's not finished in piano black. I would have loved if they had done the same thing in the piano black itself, would have really uplifted the overall appeal of that touchscreen. Now, for the AC vents, they are nice to look at. I always like when AC vents are not in your face, and they are not that. The hazard lamp button is in the center of those AC vents. The plastic is also sturdy. Also, it does get the climate control for the air conditioning, which is actually a pleasant surprise because I was certainly not expecting that from the VXI variant. It seems to be the same as your Grand Vitara or the Baleno, the unit itself. It lights up in orange when you turn on the headlamps, just like this. And it does get the normal buttons, where very easy to use, very easy to understand. The display is right in the center. The buttons are also in silver finish, so they're nice to look at, nice to push, proper feedback. I like that. Now you get two, no, there's one USB socket at the right, and there's a 12-volt socket on the left, which has a proper lid. Both of them have a proper lid, so as to not unnecessarily increase the visual bulk. There's no wireless electric charger on offer. This is all hard plastic. There's no piano black. Just imagine if there would have been piano black, how good to look at that center console would have been. This is a normal looking gear knob. Since this is a manual, you get a 5-speed manual gear knob, which is finished in plastic at the top, but there's leather at the bottom of that. Now it gets manual handbrake, and there's some space to keep your stuff, and two cup holders. One of them is bigger and one of them is smaller, so I don't understand the logic of that. The manual handbrake is plastic, so there's no use of leather. You do not get a center console armrest, but there's some space to keep your stuff. But the center console armrest is something that I definitely would miss if I was buying this car. Now for the glove box, it does not get any lamp or any cool function, but the glove box is adequately sized. It would definitely suffice if you wanted to keep some documents and some cables to charge your phone and all. So no problems as such. As for the dashboard, all hard plastic, hard plastic, hard plastic, hard plastic overall. But I love this silver finish which they have done to give the base for that infotainment. And it runs across the dashboard, comes at the bottom, flows through the center console, goes through the gear knob, and guess what? It ends here. It does not complete that circle. Why not? Why is it not going across both the sides of the center console? It feels incomplete. That's literally triggering my OCD. I don't know what's that about. Coming to the other bits, you get tweeters on the front two A pillars. There's mirror on the vanity mirror on the co-driver side visor, but there's none on the driver side. You do not get any vanity mirror on the driver side sun visor. Now for the cabin lamp, there is no cabin lamp at the front. The only cabin lamp that you get is in the center, which is sort of towards the front seats only, but that is the only cabin lamp illumination that you get. Soft pull grab handles, like I previously mentioned. There's no seatbelt adjustment on offer for this variant. You do get adjustable headrests, and there's good enough cushioning and bolstering for that seat, and the seats are really wide as well. The cushioning somehow seems to be better on the backrest as compared to the thigh support. The inside rear view mirror is not an auto dimming one, but it gets a day night feature so as to toggle between the day and night functions. It gets the dual front airbags as well, as a standard obviously. Now you certainly will miss some features which you do not get in this variant particularly, which is cruise control, a TFT MID, a better touchscreen, telescopic steering wheel adjustment, rear washer and wiper, push start stop button, and 16-inch alloy wheels as well. But as I'm saying it, I realize that most of these features are feel good features and basically for you to feel more comfortable. It's not that you can't do without these. Engine start stop button, you can let go of. You do not get a sunroof, obviously that's a feel good feature. Alloy wheels, that's just to enhance the look of the car, but it wouldn't hinder your driving experience or your long journeys. Same goes for the TFT MID, the cruise control. The cruise control is obviously a handy feature on expressways and highways, but then again, if you feel the need for it, you would have to spend more. The target customer for this particular variant would be someone who does not care much about the features. He or she just wants to get to from point A to point B in a compact SUV which looks stylish and bigger. There are seats which are comfortable, and you obviously get an engine which is exactly identical to that of the ZSI Plus variant as well, at an ex-showroom price of 9.46 lakhs for the manual and 10.96 for the automatic, it has to be the most value for money variant in the Brezza lineup, because there's obviously a huge leap when we talk about the ZXI and ZXI Plus, because the ZXI costs around 10.86 lakhs ex showroom for the manual, which is a 1.4 lakhs jump. The registration cost and the insurance which will get added on top of that difference is another thing altogether. And there's obviously a ZXI Plus variant also. As for the comparison between LXI and VXI, VXI is recommended because the VXI does get you some features which you would definitely expect from a car when you're spending around 10 to 11 lakhs for a compact SUV. So let us know in the comments what you think about the new Brezza and particularly this VXI variant. Whether would you buy one if you had a budget of 10 to 11 lakhs? Do hit the like button if you appreciated our content, and also tell us what other car would you want us to review. Subscribe to our channel for more such car reviews and keep watching Throttle Up.